Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 252 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills helps you improve your table tennis. In the show today, we'll discuss the upcoming European Olympic qualification tournaments and answer your questions on the rules in doubles, receiving tactics in doubles, and regaining form after a short break. I'm Jeff Plum, and as always, Super Coach Alois Rosario is here with me to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Thank you, Jeff. And it has been a while. It's been a week.
Yes, it does seem like a long time since we did a show. I've had a good little break, Alois. It's been school holidays here. My son got to train with the Geelong Cats and Australian rules football team, so he's had a good holiday.
I'm sure he has. That would have been pretty exciting. Yes, and I've just been out and about in a few different places with work, so into Canberra and Adelaide. But we're back.
Great. Any number crunching?
No, it wasn't actually at the Bureau of Statistics in Canberra. No, just at the AIS, the Australian Institute of Sport.
Okay, excellent. All right, now, Alois, because we've been away for a while, I think we should hit the audience hard with the best segment, This Day in History. What happened on the 11th of April?
Well, it is a big day in table tennis. It is the birthdays of Jiang Jialiang and Kenta Matsudaira. So,
wow, there you go. So if you were born on the 11th of April, things are looking up for you in your table tennis.
Yeah, and also Aussie table tennis player Anna Du, who's now in the UK working. So yes, so she also shares a big birthday with Jiang Jialiang and Kenta Matsudaira. And I still remember watching Jiang play Waldner in the final of the 1987 World Championships in Delhi in India. It was a huge match.
Wow, good memories. Good memories. Well, happy birthday, Jiang and Kenta and Anna Du. Very good. Now, Alois, at the moment there is Olympic qualifications going on around the world, and shortly the European Olympic qualification is about to begin. Who's looking good for that, and what do we need to know about the Olympic qualifications in Europe?
Yeah, so probably the first thing is that they were changed. So they were going to be in Istanbul, but now they're in Halmstad in Sweden. So starting tomorrow, the 12th of April, 12th to the 16th, and lots of table tennis to be played there. So if you're anywhere near Halmstad, it would be absolutely sensational to get down there and watch some of the European Olympic qualification. So the big names in the men's. Samsonov, the number 1 seed. So, it's amazing at his age. Timo Boll, Marcus Freitas, and then Gassina, Apollonio, Shabayev, Simone Gauzy, Figueroa. So, yeah, a whole host of super players. Pargarel in there with his Pargarel serve.
Where was Ovcharov, sorry? Is Ovcharov in there?
No, so Ovcharov's already qualified because he won the. They had a European tournament last year, so so he's already got a qualification spot. But in this tournament, there are 10 qualification spots up for grabs. So it's quite a lot of spots, and it's a complex system. But basically, what it'll work out to is that there will be 8. There'll be some preliminary matches, and then the top 8 seeds are put into a group each, and then there'll be 8 players in that pool, and they play a tournament, and the winner of that tournament gets a qualification spot. So in each of the 8 spots, and then there'll also be another tournament after that with everyone that's remaining that's missed out, for another 2 qualification spots. So yeah.
Okay. I guess just it's such a big region and they need to do it kind of quickly. Yeah. So that is interesting, isn't it? That they separate them out into 8 sort of separate tournaments. So the top players might not even play each other.
Yeah, they won't.
But there's still another 2 spots
Yeah.
after that if one of those top players happen to lose in one of those tournaments.
Yeah, correct. So and the field's pretty deep. I mean, Stefan Figueroa's number 8. Christian Carlson's number 9, Pargarel 10, then Stigo, Jonas. Yeah, so Liam Pitchford in there at number 14. We saw his heroics at the World Championships. So so definitely a big open tournament.
Absolutely.
And on the women's side, so Han Ying from Germany, Germans take up the first 3 spots. So Han Ying, Patricia Solja, and Shiona Shan all take up the first 3. Then Malak Hu from Turkey, Li Jia from Netherlands, Li Qian from Poland. So yeah,
That's interesting. Because if they separate, say, the Germans into the top groups, they might end up in 3 different groups, not play each other, all qualify, but only 2 get to go. So
yes, they in the document that I saw, they hadn't yet worked out how they were going to do that. They obviously have done now. How they were going to play those players off. So if there were 3 Germans, for example, that won the 8 groups or won their group each, they would have to play off in some way against each other for the 2 spots.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe they stick them in the same group, but is that fair? I don't know. We'll find out a bit more.
Yeah, no, it specifically says that they separate the players from the same country into different groups. So
okay, that makes sense. All right, yeah. So yeah, if you're anywhere near the qualifying tournament, Halmstad, get down and watch it. Otherwise, hopefully ICTF will stream it on their YouTube channel or something like that, so we'll be able to see some of the exciting matches. Yeah, great to watch people trying to qualify for Rio. All right, now that moves us on to today's PingSkillers question of the day, which is, who is your favorite European men's and women's player? So jump onto our Facebook page or onto the PingSkills blog and let us know who's your favorite European players from the men and the women. All right. And the last PingSkillers question of the day that we had was, what do you serve at match point? What are people doing, Alice? Are they changing things up? Are they just going for their favorite serve?
Yeah, we had a lot of comments. So Manuel said, in my opinion, you should not serve different, whether it's match point or 6-all. Your strategy should be the same, which guarantees you at any given saw the most probability to make a point. So there you go. Some nice advice there. And then quite a few people have, nominated the exact type of serve they're going to do. So Thad said a long, fast, no spin serve. Timmy said short, heavy side spin to the backhand. Luke said, it depends on which serve has worked in the match. I think that's really good advice. Also, on how I judge they will play. If they're going to be more reserved with their return, I will serve a top spin disguised as back, or a serve.
Hey, you going there, Alice? Sounds like your voice is struggling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, yes, just a tickle in the throat, but all going well. Yeah, so quite a few different ideas there. And Philip Boyle said, I genuinely produce a fault in such situations. Very funny.
Oh, dear. Poor old Philip.
Yes.
That is good. Yes. So what are your thoughts on this, Alois? I kind of like the logic of Manuel, was it, at the start?
Yes.
That said, you should serve the ball that's going to give you the biggest probability of winning. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think you got to be careful. If you go for the big serve, the hero serve, the long, fast serve, for example, it's a real risk, isn't it? Because if your opponent is switched on and sees that ball long, they're just going to attack you, and then you're in a really bad position. For me, it's better to play the shorter serve, the serve that's been winning you a bulk of your points, and go with that on a match point.
Indeed. Yep. Good advice. All right. let's get on to some questions, Alois. We've got quite a few people that have asked a question live on the show using the Google Q&A button, and anyone can do that by going to our Google Plus page and finding the latest show. And you just click the button that says Q&A and ask your question. And first up, Ali says, I miss Panda. Where is he?
Poor Panda. He has been a little bit under the weather lately. So, yeah, but he will be back. He's been training hard. The Olympics and Paralympics coming up for him. So, he has been in full solid training. But, yeah, this last few days, I'm a bit worried about Panda.
Indeed, yes. But thanks, Ali, for thinking about Panda. Next up is a question from Victory, who says, how do I attack a long side spin serve that goes straight into the middle? It's pretty fast, and I can't get in any position for the top spin. How can I attack effectively? I don't have the reflexes to move my feet and make the stroke in time. Help!
Brocky, Victory. So if you are in a good, balanced, ready position to start with, it'll make it a bit easier. Make sure you've got your feet nice and wide and balanced so that if that ball does come to the middle, that you can even just sway out of the way to make that top spin. So if you've got a really narrow stance and you try to move, you're going to topple over. If you've got a nice broad stance and move, then you're still going to be balanced. You're going to be able to make that ball really quickly in the middle if you haven't got time to move your feet. I mean, ideally, obviously, you want to move your feet into position first, but if you're saying that you haven't got time, the ball's coming too quickly, then just being able to sway out of the way and make that top spin is probably the best option for you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And in terms of actually improving your reflexes and being able to move into position, I guess that's more about, watching the ball really closely. If you're watching that serve well, you probably can pick up that it's coming fast and long to your middle and just give yourself a little bit of extra time to get in a position to make that ball. So, yeah, keep that in mind, Victor. All right, and Ali says, good luck, Panda. Thanks, Ali. We'll pass that your good wishes on to Panda.
Yeah, and I just don't know which qualification zone he's going to be able to play in, though. I guess Asia.
I guess so. Good question. All right. Now, Victory's got a couple more questions. He says, I watched Waldner's matches in his prime. He had great speed, power, control, etc. I think I agree about what you said before, that he could play against modern players if he was in their era. But I think Waldner, even in his prime, would have a bit of trouble. It's always an interesting one, isn't it, Alois? I think, yeah, like I said, we discussed this before on the show, and there was an interview with Jorgen Persson, who said that he thinks that, the Swedes would have been able to find a way to beat the Chinese because I guess they were used to winning so much that, that's a strong belief he would have.
Yeah, that's right. And whoever knows, but yeah, I'm with the Swedes. I think they would have found a way to develop, especially with that strong group of players they had at that time. Pushing each other. Waldner, Persson, Appelgren, Lind. Yeah, it was a huge group and hugely talented group of players that came through all at the same time.
Certainly was, yes. But also great to see, how Marlong's just kept on raising that level more and more, and he is unbelievable. All right, the next question from Victory is, when is the next World Tour? And the next World Tour is the Polish Open from the 20th to the 24th of April in Warsaw. So that should be an exciting event. You can check out more about it on the ITTF website. And look, Victory is on a roll, Alois. His next question is, do you think you can switch your power of practice skills? Jeff trying the spin catcher and Alois trying the table tapper.
Yes. Yeah, I might have a go at the old table tapper at some stage, see how I go. But
Yeah, I think you'll get pretty good at it pretty quickly, Alois. You've got good touch. Alois is excellent at returning those little short serves, so I'm sure the table tapper will be right up his alley.
We'll see.
Exactly. And, not right at the moment, but I will try that spin catcher. It looks very, very difficult. Have you been practicing at all, your spin catcher?
Interestingly, I was in Adelaide on the weekend and someone said, I can't do the spin catcher. And I tried to do it 10 times. No good.
No good. Oh, yeah.
So it's been what 11 days. So it's 11 days since I practiced it, and there is a marked drop in ability.
Wow. Maybe you should just do like one or two every time before you start practice or coaching.
Okay.
Anyway, let's get on to some more questions. Johan wants us to clarify some rules about doubles. He says, I've understood that you serve against different players every set, but what determines who serves first in the set after the first one? And do you change the serving order in the deciding set?
Yes, it is a bit complex. So if I was serving to Jeff in the first game, then in the second game, Jeff would serve to me and hit to me in the second game. So you do have to swap that from the first game to the second game, and then back again in the third and fourth and fifth, etc. So there is definitely that changing of who you served or who you're hitting to for the whole game. That's to just make it a bit fairer and more even. So make sure you're setting that up. He also asked in his extended question, so how do you decide who or what happens in the second game? So in the second game, if my team served first in the first game, then Jeff's team decides who they want to serve first in the second game. So if they decide that Jeff's going to serve in the second game, is going to serve first in the second game, then I have to return that because it's my turn to return from Jeff. So that's how that happens. And in the deciding set, that gets really complex. So in the deciding set, if we're playing and Jeff's team reaches 5 points, or whichever team finishes reaches 5 points first, then it's time to swap ends. But then you also swap the receivers, or who is going to return the next one. So if the score is 5-4 and Jeff was due to serve to me, then he would serve to my partner for that next serve, and then continue from there. So you just swap the receivers at that stage. Swap ends, swap the receivers. So yeah, pretty complex, but yeah, hopefully you understood all that.
It is quite complex, isn't it? But I think once you get the hang of it and understand it, it makes sense why the rules are that way. And I think they're pretty fair rules and pretty good rules.
Yeah, they are. They even the game up, especially if there's one dominant player or you don't like returning from a particular player. So, each game is different. And you often see that does swing the results quite a bit from game to game.
Certainly does. And that's why doubles are so interesting. If you haven't noticed it before, take a bit more notice. Each game, a player will be receiving serve from a different person. So, you might see them win easily one game, but then lose the next because they have troubles returning their serve. And then that's where it gets really interesting in the deciding set, because half the game they're playing against the player they don't like returning serve from, and half the game the one they do. So, really fascinating. All right. Now, John also has a question about doubles. He says, I would like to know why serving in doubles is so much less dynamic than in singles. So what is the reason for using a much weaker and easier to read serve when they can comfortably use their normal serves to win the point?
Yeah, so John, on the question, sent a link of 4 players playing each other, 4 Chinese players, and I can't remember who it was, Liu Gaoliang and a few others. And you see there that they don't, so in singles, they're doing this and they're doing the side spin and the top spin and the back spin. So in the doubles, they tend to do more just straight backspin, and that's a couple of things. One is it just makes it easier for your partner on the third ball. So if you're putting more side spin and there's changes in the spin on your serve, then the ball that comes back is also a little bit different, a little bit more complex. And also in doubles, it's really important to make sure that that serve is really low and into a good position, because if you don't put it in, don't get it low, the receiver has got only half of the table to cover, and they're just standing there and they're just going to go crack. So that's why they tend to just use mainly backspin and no spin in doubles, just a straight serve, and serving it more to the central area of the table. So just on the correct side of the white line, obviously, but more to the center of the table. If you serve it wide, then the receiver is going to play it really wide out to your partner. So yeah, just a few double strategies there, that just keeping that serve a little bit more simple. You're still generating spin, but it tends to be more just straight backspin and no spin.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Alice, because I think that at the lower levels, maybe where people aren't as good at returning serve, maybe you can just go for a big spinny serve that might be an outright winner. But as the level gets higher and higher and the players are much better at returning serve, like you said, when they only have half the table to cover, they don't have to move into position. They're already right in position. Their return of serve is really effective. And because if you've served it, you've got to move out of the way to give space to your partner. Yeah, anything that's a little bit high is going to really make it hard for your opponent, because they're going to have trouble getting to the ball while the server's getting out of the way. So yeah, at that high level, yeah, definitely. That's why you see, like you said, just the simple, keep it low, keep it short. Still try and confuse the opponent. If you can confuse them and make them think there's heavy backspin when there's not spin, or make them think there's no spin when there is heavy backspin, then you're going to be in a good position for the point. But yeah, interesting to watch the different tactics at different levels in doubles.
Yeah, it is, and and that's why doubles does become a really interesting game. And there's always different things happening. For every 2 points, the whole game changes as well.
Yeah, certainly does. All right, the next question is from Vishnu, who says, I used to play 5 hours a day, the morning and the evening, and I play basic skills of table tennis quite nicely. But if I take an interval for more than 2 days, I find it difficult to play even the basics. It takes me weeks to regain my game. Do you have any tips for Vishnu?
Yeah, so Vishnu, I think it's more about just being open and just allowing yourself to adjust. Often it can be a mental thing that because you're used to playing 5 hours every day, your body just gets used to that rhythm. And if it hasn't done it for a couple of days, it sort of starts to feel, oh, maybe I'm not going to be as good. You don't lose skill that quickly. You don't lose skill after 2 days. So it's definitely what is happening here. So at the start of those sessions that you're coming back after 2 days, just do 5 minutes of just more controlled hitting, just until you get the feel of it again. You'll feel comfortable pretty quickly, and then just go into it. But yeah, you really do not lose any ability over 2 days.
Yeah, it's good to just think about that logically and remind yourself that, so that when you go out there, you can go, all right, I know I've still got this skill, I can do it. And yeah, it's amazing the tricks your mind can play on you, I guess, Alois.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's sort of, and as soon as you start to think more and more about it, you think, oh, I haven't trained for 2 days. I hope I'm going to be good. Oh, I'm probably, no good now. It's just a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? You just start to play badly.
Great. All right. So Vishnu, remember, you cannot lose skill that quickly. You've built up that skill by training 5 hours a day for that period of time. So take advantage of that fact. And yeah, I'm sure that just the right attitude will help you. All right. Well, that wraps up show 252. Thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate your support. Make sure you check out PingSkills.com. And of course, thank you, Alois, for all your words of wisdom.
Thanks, Jeff. And we shall see you tomorrow for another show. Bye. See you.